That was President-elect Donald Trump just a month ago, calling for Hillary Clinton to be jailed over her use of a private email server. Now he's backing off that campaign promise, dropping the threat of a special prosecutor. Let's discuss this and more with CNN political commentators Christine Quinn and Scotty Nell Hughes. Ladies, thanks so much for being here. Let me just read to you what he told the New York Times yesterday about why he's backing off of this. He said, "I don't want to hurt the Clintons. I really don't. She went through a lot and suffered greatly in many ways, and I'm not looking to hurt them at all. So for whatever it's worth, my attitude is strongly that we have to go forward. We have so many different problems to solve. I don't think we have to delve back in the past." So, Scotty, now he doesn't want to hurt the Clintons?
Well, I think there's a lot of things this morning that conservatives are waking up and going, kind of taking a second glance at, and this is one of the stories. But let me say this.
That was President-elect Donald Trump just a month ago, calling for Hillary Clinton to be jailed over her use of a private email server. Now he's backing off that campaign promise, dropping the threat of a special prosecutor. Let's discuss this and more with CNN political commentators Christine Quinn and Scotty Nell Hughes. Ladies, thanks so much for being here. Let me just read to you what he told the New York Times yesterday about why he's backing off of this. He said, "I don't want to hurt the Clintons. I really don't. She went through a lot and suffered greatly in many ways, and I'm not looking to hurt them at all. So for whatever it's worth, my attitude is strongly that we have to go forward. We have so many different problems to solve. I don't think we have to delve back in the past." So, Scotty, now he doesn't want to hurt the Clintons?
Well, I think there's a lot of things this morning that conservatives are waking up and going, kind of taking a second glance at, and this is one of the stories. But let me say this. Anything that Mr. Trump would do at this point, whatever the results would be highly politicized. And he is in, I think, this process of trying to heal our country, try to unify before he takes office. And technically, legally, the president himself cannot appoint a special investigator. This actually has to come from the attorney general. And the attorney general is only going to do this if there's enough information, if there's enough evidence to warrant this, which comes from the FBI investigation of themselves.
Right. So why did he promise that on the campaign? I mean, this makes people's heads spin.
Right.
Why did he promise this, Scotty? Why did he claim that he could? Why didn't he mention any of the things, or you mention any of the things during the campaign that you're now saying?
Well, I think now you're starting to see him come actually under the advice of the Attorney General, since he has named it as Jeff Sessions. It's not over. This does not mean necessarily that it's not going to happen. This just means that he's opening up, saying, you know what, we've got bigger things to focus on. Let's actually try to start representing all those and unifying them together. And you know, like I said, we're going to see what the FBI investigation comes back. The door was left open that if some new evidence is revealed, it's not necessarily saying he's not going to. But at this point,
everybody says that they're not going to do it because it doesn't make political sense, and I don't think that's the point of criticism. The question is whether or not you feel duped. You know, this was a big campaign promise. He said it again and again to rallies. He meant it. He said it on a debate stage, and then he walked away from it. He's walked away from the wall. He walked away from what he said on climate change. Now, there are a lot of people in the country, center and left, who will be like, "Ooh, thank God. Maybe there's something in his head that we can agree with." But for people like you and for people who would come up and say, "I want that wall. You know, finally, this climate change stuff is being exposed as a hoax. You know, yes, Clinton, the corruption, they're going to pay, finally." Do you feel duped?
No, I don't feel duped. Well, yes, I would love to have everything. I would love to see a completely conservative people that were a part of Mr. Trump's team from day one be a part of the cabinet. While I'd like to see all of us, he is not president yet. We have not seen his actions. So let's make sure that once he gets into his office, let's see what happens there before we start this criticism. Let's remember, you know, we saw something back in 1974 with this Saturday night massacre that happened with Nixon when he got involved with an FBI investigation. One of the big criticisms right now of President Obama is that he's got involved with the Department of Justice. Let's get Mr. Trump sworn in, and then you can start criticizing the actions from there. At this point right now, I think he's just trying to get everybody on board.
Okay.
So,
how do you see all this?
well, if I think what I heard Scotty say is that, yes, this is in between. Yes, this is a flip-flop, but it's okay, because we're expecting another flip-flop when he gets into the White House. That, to me, is just bizarre.
Either way, you should be happy, because it means that Clinton's not going to get prosecuted.
Well, look, I'm happy on two ends. Well, I'm happy and I'm not, right? I knew Clinton was never going to get prosecuted by Secretary Clinton, by Donald Trump.
You never believed it?
Never believed it. I thought it was, one, there was no there to prosecute. Two, I knew the president couldn't wave a magic wand and make that happen. Three, I realized, as I think a lot of people in the Secretary's campaign did, that was just, it was showmanship, right? But what bothers me isn't now doing the right thing, and I hope we can take him at his word to bring the country together. I'm much happier to hear the president-elect say that climate change might be influenced by humans. I'd like him to actually retract that it was a hoax and endorse science. But these are, positive things. But for me, what's troubling is, what does our president-elect believe? Was the whole campaign just opportunistic to say whatever he had to say to get elected? That's the worst of American politics. That is the swamp he promised to drain. And hypocrisy in politics, and I'm not saying there aren't things you could say about Democrats being hypocritical, maybe even me having been hypocritical in office, but we should strive not to be, and we should strive certainly not to be on the level and scale that as soon as you're president-elect, everything gets flipped. I'm happier that he's starting to see climate change isn't, a magical act and a hoax, but real.
Let's